Hello students, welcome back to your online class. In my last video, I was teaching literature to the students of standard 7 and the chapter was the Sherpas. Okay, I'll continue that same chapter in this video. This is in page number 98. So we were talking about the life of the Sherpas. Now, most of the 70,000 or so Sherpas in Nepal aren't involved in the climbing or trekking industry. So, don't think that all these Sherpas, they are only involved in the climbing or trekking industries. It's mainly in the Khumbu region that tourism has transformed the Sherpas' lives in a generation. Because tourists come from far off places, okay. So, it has transformed their life. Tourism had made the Sherpas of Khumbu rich. So, this tourism has made the Sherpas rich. Now, the journalist says, my friend Nima Nuru Sherpa, they use this word Sherpa as their last name. Okay. So, my friend Nima Nuru Sherpa is one of the thousands of Sherpa success stories. When he was born on a tiny Khumbu farm 8 years before the first ascent of Everest. So when the first ascent of Everest was made, 8 years before he was born, his family grew potatoes like everybody else. Okay, so potato farming is very much common over there. You know, raising potatoes is hard work. Such hard work you don't make much money. Nima would say, but by the time he was a teenager in the late 1960s, getting into the mountaineering business was every Sherpa boy's dream. But as they grew up, when they saw that they have scaled the Mount Everest, now their also dream had become to scale it. I was a potter, he used to say. I was also a potter. I carried 22 kilos all the way to Camp 2 on Everest. That's 22,000 feet without oxygen. I was a hotel waiter. I was a cook. I did everything, tireless, bright, and quick to pick up languages. He could pick all the languages. Nima became, any language, those tourists used to come there, he used to pick it up. Nima became a trekking guide with knowledge of English, German, and Japanese. He saved his earnings and rented a house about 200 yards from the airstrip at Lukla, which is in 1993. He turned into a successful hotel and restaurant with a fairly reliable income from the lodge. Nima took the next step on the career path of the upwardly mobile, Sherpa, those who used to go there to the heights, to the high altitudes, okay. And he also climbed up in his life even. And then what happened? Last autumn, he set up a trekking company of his own in Kathmandu. Okay, so in Kathmandu, he set up his own trekking company 125 miles from Khumbu. Because by that time, trekking had become very famous and well known, okay, among all the people all over the world. So people used to come in large numbers. Then three decisive discoveries made the Sherpas what they are today, says Ang Rita. Now Ang Rita is a famous mountain climber who has successfully climbed Mount Everest 10 times. So she used to say that what they are today, okay, three major innovations have made. What is that? The British travelers brought potato plant to the Himalayas in the 19th century, and the Sherpas recognized that this could be a staple crop for the Khumbu climate. So they started cultivating potatoes. In the 20th century, this was the first one. Second one, in the 20th century, the introduction of iodine wiped out goiter. Okay, so this iodine is used to wipe off goiter and made an important improvement in public health. Okay, so they were suffering from a disease called goiter, that is swelling of the throat. So they used it and then they became healthy. And the mountaineers who wanted to climb the high peaks gave us the foundation of a tourist economy that has produced more wealth than agriculture or trading even ever did. So now they understood that tourist economy, okay, through tourism they can get more wealth than through agriculture. So they started doing it. The Sherpas began migrating to Darjeeling, India, more than 100 miles east of Khumbu in the 19th century, when the first British mountaineering expeditions headed to Mount Everest in the early 20th century, traveling from northeast India through Tibet, because Nepal was close to mountaineers until 1949. They hired strong young Sherpas in Darjeeling to be potters. Okay, so what happened? They had settled in Darjeeling. So when the tourists came to go to the Mount Everest in the early 20th century, this traveling from northeast India through Tibet, okay, because Nepal was close to the foreigners. So what they did? They hired strong young Sherpas in Darjeeling, and from there to as potters, and from there they went straight to the Mount Everest. A Sherpa contingent, okay. So a Sherpa contingent, a group of people, okay, sharing a group of people, okay, sharing a common feature, okay. These all Sherpa contingent became essential for every climbing expedition. When the British expedition of 1953 became the first to reach the roof of the world. The final assault team comprised one New Zealand climber, Edmund Hillary, and one Sherpa, Tenzing Norgay. So finally, when they reached there, Tenzing Norgay was also among them. Okay. The conquest of the majestic Mount Everest caught the imagination of the world. The whole world came to know about this, and bringing an unprecedented number of climbers to Khumbu. Okay, so which was not done before. Now all of them had started doing this. Number of people, climbers came here, and they also wanted to do. It also brought the Sherpas a generous and untiring benefactor in the person of Hillary. Now Edmund Hillary, after scaling the Mount Everest, he was like a boon to the Sherpas. Okay, he was generous and he thought for the betterment of the Sherpas. Okay, and he helped them to raise their living. To speed up the construction of the hospital, what he did? He sped up the construction of the hospital in the village of Kundu. Hillary oversaw the construction of the airstrip and a dramatic mountainside in Luklu, a runaway that had the unintended result of fueling the massive tourist trade. So because of all this hospital, okay, and these runway paths to go, the tourist trade flourished immensely. Quickly, each of Khumbu's 25,000 foot plus peak was climbed, with the Sherpas playing a central role in the expedition. Even more crucial to the Khumbu economy was the development of the trekking industry, in which the Sherpas led tourists on week-long hikes. So now quickly, each of the Khumbus, okay, 25,000 foot plus peaks were climbed, and Sherpas played a very important role, okay, by becoming their guides and helping them, because they knew about the landscape of the area. Only 10,000 or so Sherpas remain in Solu, Khumbu. The rest have scattered to towns and villages across northeastern Nepal and India. Thousands now live in Kathmandu, where most of Nepal's trekking and climbing agencies are headquartered. Further afield, there's the Sherpa Rock Band. Okay, Sherpa Rock Band in New York City, the Sherpa restaurant in Tokyo's Shibuya district, and Sherpa hiking guides in mountain resorts areas all over the world. So now they have scattered almost all over the world, and they are well known. In Khumbu, the old way still persists, but in Khumbu, the old method of staying is still there. As many aspects of the Sherpa's daily life, their washing machine is the running water, their dryer is the sun. The kids use round pebbles as marbles, and play each with potatoes, with rocks and branches. Sherpas farmers construct diversion channels beside mountain streams to drive the water wheels. So they constructed diversion channels, okay, from to all the sides they diverse beside mountain stream to drive the water wheels. Water wheel is driven, okay, and that water wheel is driven mountain stream, okay, the beside the mountain stream made to drive the water wheel that is used to grind the grain into flour. In same streams are used to spin the prayer wheels that dot the Sherpa country. In Khumbu, our tradition are maintained. Angrita says their tradition they have maintained on the steep rock-strewn mountain trails of the Sherpa land. New mothers still walk with farmers, yak herders, mail carriers, great grandmothers, and exhausted, sweating potters bent low under the weight of cargo on their backs. So still they follow that old method of staying. The Sherpas have brought all manner of innovations up the mountain trails. So why is there no room in Khumbu for the automobile or the road that it could drive on? So the journalist is asking that they have made so much development there, innovations have been made, but still then why there no roads have been made where vehicles can move? I posed that question to almost every Sherpa I met. He used to ask every Sherpa. The consensus view, so most of them said, is that roadlessness is an essential element of the Sherpa condition. If we rode a bus in Khumbu, would we still feel the steepness? Okay, would we still feel the steepness of our mountain? Ask Nimanuru Shirap. So Nimanuru says that if there was road, then would we feel the steepness of the mountain? No. Would we still hear the waterfalls coming down our cliffs? Would we stop and say a prayer when we passed a money? Okay, that is a prayer stone, money stone. So would we do all this if we had got a bus or to move on the road? No. So we love to be in this way what we have adopted. We like to walk on foot, carry the loads and walk on this steep way of the Himalayas region. So the Khumbu Valley is still practicing the same way of living. That is why the Sherpas are known as a very strong, hardy people. They are adopted to that region. So this has been adopted from the National Geographic magazine by T.R. Reid. Okay. So this was very interesting, no? We came to know about the life of the Sherpas. So, thank you children.